Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye, bye. Let's get straight to that intro. Welcome back, and if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking, and I appreciate all the support. I'm very humbled by it. So it's official like a referee's whistle. Kane Velasquez is coming home, right? He has a new date. He was scheduled to come home to get out of prison in March, and guess what? Rewind, flag on the play. The brother is coming home in February, right? He's got his earliest projected release date in February, and there's subsequently been some new photos released to show he's in good spirits and he's having it his way. This man has actually utilized the prison as his playground, right? He went in, he looks great. It looks like he's working out. He's participating in sport activities. If you see the pictures, the thumbnail, those are new pictures just released from him in prison, Soledad prison, where he is residing, right, on a level 2 yard. He will be getting out in February. Okay, now, at first, he was supposed to be getting out in March, but when you go to prison, you have a chance and opportunity, especially on these lower yards, lower facilities, to earn credits, right? And he's actually earned good time credits while he's been there because he's been disciplinary free. And I expected this of Cain. You know, I know when he first got locked up, a lot of people were projecting that Cain was going to go in there and be a monster and get into all kinds of altercations. But I knew based upon his case factors, based upon these hands, based upon who he is, Cain wasn't going to have no issues or no problem. In fact, he is a hero, not a zero. You know, because of the case that he is in for, a lot of people, they respect it. They respect a man who protects his children and his family. You know, hey, on the other side of the coin, you have people like Jay Caro, who is not going to have it the way Cain had it, because nobody respects a monster that hurts women and children. That's just the way it is, right? Look, it looks like I got a big old plug right here, but I don't. Or maybe I do. I got bit by fucking something. I don't know. Anyways, let me do something real quick here. Threw a hat on and the shit's still there. I must have got bit by motherfucking someone's fist. Anyways, right? Let's get into it. Kane Velasquez coming home, man, and that's actually a great thing. Now, I expected him to do exactly what he's doing. Participate and function in the programs in prison, which according to who I talked to, man, he's been doing his educational thing. You could tell the difference of him going into prison, kind of looking around and bewildered a little bit. And that's what happens when you're a first termer, when you're not living that criminal lifestyle, you don't know about prison and what it entails or incarceration. You know, that man had to go through some shit to get where he's at. And now he's finally going to be free to go back with his family. Now, unfortunately, he's going to miss the Christmas holiday. But pay no never mind to that, because that man is going to get out and put prison and everything behind him. And in fact, man, hopefully he realizes upon meeting some of the people that he's meeting in there that he could participate in reform. You know, a lot of guys that get locked up, people like Robert Downey, if you remember, Iron Man, right? As soon as he got out of prison, not only did he put it behind him, but he also brought people up. A lot of the people that he was incarcerated with have good stories about him giving back to that community, you know, and there's a lot of people in prison that need hope. They need people to look into their cases. They need people to realize, man, that there's a lot of guys that are innocent in there. There's a lot of guys that are not really bad people. They just got caught up in bad circumstances. Kane Velasquez is a man that got caught up in bad circumstances. So I'm sure he understands that. And what do I mean by bad circumstances? He didn't expect to live that lifestyle, to go to prison. You know, his child, you know, was put into daycare, you know, with the full understanding that his child was going to be protected. But this is a crazy world we live in. You know, that's why I say watch your children close. Watch what's going on around you. You can't trust anyone. There's definitely some monsters out there that are lurking, right? And unfortunately for Kane Velasquez, it changed his whole life. It put his life upside down. He dropped his son off with the full intentions of picking him up and him being exactly how he dropped him off. And that wasn't the case. Unfortunately, with the guy Harry Gerlarte, he's still going through the system. Now, who's Harry Gerlarte? He is the guy who allegedly victimized Kane Velasquez's child, that made Kane Velasquez flip that switch, right? That switch that said, you know what? I'm going to get justice. I'm going to take justice into my own hands. I'm just so happy that Cain was given the opportunity at some proper justice, right? He didn't get all day for the shooting that he did. He got just enough time to experience how it is in prison and what people and what hardships they're going through. And I'm sure he's going to learn from that. You know, it's not every day, you know, somebody who's just a pillar of society gets locked up, you know, but it could happen to anyone. This is proof, in fact, that it could happen to anyone. Now, I'm still discombobulated with this whole case. For one, the guy who kicked this all off, Harry Gerlarte, is still in the system and not even convicted yet. Here's Cain doing his whole time and is going to get out before this guy even gets sentenced, right? Also, another thing, and this is crazy, right? It's crazy how when Kane Velasquez was in the Santa Clara County Jail, he sat there for almost a year before he was giving any type of bail. It was just, it seemed, I don't want to say racial or anything like that, but it seemed like they were trying to make an example out of him. They took his case and set it apart from others. And that was unfortunate, but the end is near. The good times will roll, because now he's going to get a chance to be back with his children, to be the protector of that whole household, to be back with his family where he rightfully and deserves. He rightfully deserves to be with his family. Now, when a lot of videos were made in the beginning, hey, Kane Velasquez is going to go to prison. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be clicked up with these people. He's going to be clicked up with those people. I said, no. For anyone who's having been in prison that knows, you know, you don't automatically, you're not forced to. When people like Wes Watson tell these funny fake ass stories about you have to do this or you don't have to do shit. You're a grown man. Every decision you make in life is based upon you. Okay? You don't have to automatically go with the Mexicans if you're Mexican. It's probably the best thing to do. It's probably the thing that you're going to do because you feel more comfortable with people that identify culturally and look like you, right? You know, you're not going to see the brothers running around with the Woods brother, right? You're not going to see the Norteños running around with the Southsiders and vice versa. You're not going to see the Paisas kicking it with the Crips, right? It just doesn't happen like that. That's kind of how prison is. It's racially divided and you go with your people. But Kane Velasquez didn't go to a general population yard because he's not GP. Unfortunately, a victim of circumstances and celebrity, he was placed on a 50-50 yard, right? He was placed on a programming yard, which is exactly what he intended to do, program. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, if he would have went on a general population yard, Kane Velasquez would have been just as fine as he is now. He probably wouldn't have been playing football, probably would have been playing rugby, but he most definitely would have been okay because his case factors and because of his celebrity and because of who the fuck he is and the hands he has, there would have been no one to test him. Now, who would have he ran with? And we're talking about, this is just, you know, Kane Velasquez is originally from Texas. Selena's born, then went to Texas, then bounced back to San Jose, right? So I know a lot of people were like, he's going to run with the Norte. He's going to run with the Norteños. But I'm going to be totally honest with you, man. I think if Kane Velasquez went on the general population yard, he wouldn't have ran with the Norteños. Of course not. That's not his get down. He wouldn't have ran with the Southsiders because that's definitely not his get down. Sur gang. He wouldn't have did that. I most definitely think he would have ran with the Paisas because he is a brown, proud individual, man. And I think the Paisas would have, you know, embraced him as being just a brown man, someone who represents his culture, someone who represents his people with these, but at the same time is not caught up in gangs. Now, there was videos made, oh, nah, it doesn't work that way. I'm going to tell you exactly the fucking way it works. He is different than everybody else, okay? He is not a piece of shit. He is not a person that is involved in gang violence. He is not out there a criminal breaking in your home. He was none of that. He was a man that defended his child and defended his family and protected his family the best he could. And yeah, I know in society has rules and there's laws and you can't be a vigilante. You can't take justice into your own hands. But in some cases, motherfucker, it's just right. Okay. And in that case, I'm all for Kane and I back him up 100% on what he did. And I'm just so happy that it looks like through the pictures, man, He's actually doing something right in there. He looks like, man, a lot of people have adapted to him. A lot of people are being touched by Kane Velasquez in a good way, right? You know, you get into a yard, a program yard, and I know there's a lot of hardcore gangsters, man, that feel some type of way. I seen one guy made a comment, you know, at Kane Velasquez, birds of a feather flock together. He's a piece of shit because he's around a whole bunch of pieces. First of all, just because you go to a 50-50 yard or a program yard, look, if you're a gang member and you've dedicated your life to that, yeah, there's rules and regulations within the gang and politics. If you go to the other side, you're no good no more. Okay, are you a piece of shit, rap, punk, and all that? No. They're going to call you that, but it doesn't matter what anyone calls you, man. It depends upon the man that you are and what you stand on, right? A lot of these dudes that talk this shit are not going to call you that in your face, right? And some will. Let's just keep it real and honest here. If you participate in the reindeer games, if you're one of them guys and you step away or you're stepped away for any reason, then yes, people have every right to call you what the fuck they want. But at the end of the day, that doesn't make it right. Okay, with Kane Velasquez, he's an anomaly. No one has anything bad to say for two reasons. One, he'll whip your ass. He'll get you in a chokehold and you'll be going, what the fuck, right? Tapping out. And the second thing is he was never part of that lifestyle. He was a civilian that got caught up. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story, man. I had a homeboy, right? Get to a prison. I'm out of state doing time. And he was running with the Norteños. Okay, and I was like, I thought he was a Norteño for first few months. Didn't know, right? He was a homie. He was out there. I obviously figured he was cleared until he became my cellie. And as soon as he became my cellie, there was a paperwork party right here. I threw my shit on the desk, on his bed here, boom. And then he threw his, and I said, oh, man, you're here for vehicular manslaughter. He said, yeah. And I said, bro, once I got to talking to him, I said, you ain't Mexican, huh? He said, nah, I ain't Mexican. I said, what are you? He said, I'm Italian. But he looked Mexicano. But you know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, cool. I said, well, what's up, bro? You know what I mean? You seem different, bro. You seem like too smart for this place, which is crazy to say because prison is filled with a lot of intelligent individuals that made a bad choice. Okay, don't think prison is filled with a bunch of dummies and fools and criminals because there are a lot of smart people. Take Boxer Enriquez in case in point, a very intelligent individual that made some bad choices, right? So, and myself, man, I'm not as stupid as I look with this big old bump on my face that I got. I don't know. But at the same time, right, you need to understand that there's some smart people. So he just gave off that kind of smart vibe. And I was like, hey, bro, what are you here? Like, I know what you're here for, but like, what are you here for? We're not a gang member. Why are you a homeboy? He was like, nah, I just run with the Norteños, bro, because they embraced me. They showed me love. When I got here, no one else was like, I didn't know which way to go, man. So I was like, fuck it, man. I'm going to run with the Norte, right? But he wasn't a Norteño. He was just running. And because he was running with the group, he was functioning, you know, doing the máquina, doing everything that a Norteño would do. He might as well have been one, but he just was not from a gang and didn't want to be from a gang. You know what I'm saying? But he wanted to be a part of something and he needed that protection in prison. And he was just cool. And his story was he was an Italian dude, got his shit going on, got the same girlfriend from high school. You know what I'm saying? Loyal cat, got a job at the bank, was working at the bank, was going to college, just doing his thing, right? And liked to drink a little bit. He had a nice ass Acura Integra. You know what I'm saying? That was back when everyone was doing their thing. And him and his friends did some street racing and he wrecked. And two of his friends were killed, right? In the process, he barely lived. And they gave him 10 years, vehicular manslaughter. And every day I would see him, he would have nightmares in the cell. I would see him like go through it. I was like, damn, what are you stressing on, bro? He's like, I can't get their faces out of my dreams, bro. He's like, he took the time on the chin. Like, hey, whatever you guys give me, I'll take, man, because I got to go do time because my homeboys are dead. It's kind of like the movie Shot Caller. He just took it, right? Now, at the same time, he wasn't worried about the time. I remember having good conversations. It was more about losing his friends. I tell you that story to say this. He ended up, man, I ain't going to lie, man, that dude ended up becoming a monster. Little by little, the prison got to him. The Norteño cause got to him. He ended up becoming a full-fledged member of something bigger than himself, man. He ended up getting caught up. He ended up catching a lot more time, right? It's unfortunate to say, but that happens. He was kind of, like I said, the movie Shot Caller, he got caught up in the system, right? Now, how's that story anything similar to Cain? It's the fact that any person, man, that's just living today, you wake up this morning, you're just doing your thing, you're not part of that criminal lifestyle, you could be in prison later on this month, or definitely in the county jail later on today. Anyone could get caught up. Now, in his case, it was an accident, but he was making some bad choices. In Kane Velasquez's defense, he wasn't making no bad choices. That man was a pillar of the community. He was helping people out. He was leading the Raza, man. He was showing us that we had a champion. He was the first Raza world heavyweight champion in UFC. Like, he was showing us a different way, showing the youth a different way. And his family got victimized. And he went back, doubled back, and victimized the victimizer, right? So I'm just happy that Kane Velasquez is getting out. His new date is February. And you can see by the thumbnail, he's in there participating in the sports, having a good time, looks healthy, looks fit. And I'm sure his family is very happy that they're coming, that he's coming home, right? And I think as a Raza community, as a community period, as people, man, we need to look to him for inspiration, someone who could go into prison and do the right things. Now, again, it's different for everybody. Don't think, hey, Kane made it through there, I could do it just like that. No, prison is still not the place to be. Just because Kane has a smile, I'm sure at night when the fucking lights go off, and believe me, the lights do go off, and the trays get fed the same way, he's like, damn, he wishes he could be home for the holidays. Because right now it's the holiday season. Christmas is next week, right? I think it's next Wednesday, Thursday, whenever it is, right? And there's a lot of people that are sitting down in them prisons, man, that are stressed out because their old lady is out there, their kids. It's just another fucking Christmas that they're missing. They can't be home for that embrace, for that hug, man. You know, you also got dudes that, because they've done so much time, their family is gone. They don't have no one to even send a card to draw a card for. So we got to take advantage. And advantage is not a great word. I hate that word, but we do. We need to take advantage of our freedoms and embracing our family and being in our loved ones' presence, because any day could be your last day in death, but also any day could be your last day of freedom. You know, we don't wake up every morning like, oh, man, I think I'm going to go to prison today. No. But you can go out into public, just going to Walmart to buy some bread. Someone looks stupid at you. Next thing you know, bam, you're in the fucking mix, and boom, 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 beep, 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 boop. Now you're in fucking on your way to prison for life. Or he is, and you're gone. It's just that simple. I just wanted to do this video out there in positivity to say, hey, a good thing finally. And all this chaos, man, we've the Stockton mass shootings, the San Jose shootings, the Rob Reiner, murder. I mean, all these things are going on. It's just drama and chaos. And then, of course, we got YouTube and all the haters and just a lot of chaos. And everyone just wants to talk shit and drama. And then we got the little Toro murder and just a lot of stuff going on, right? This is a good one, man. This is showing that someone went into the pit. He went into the motherfucking lion's den and he came out whole. Now, he's not your average man doing it. You know what I'm saying? It was a little bit harder for me. It was a little bit harder for you. Kane Velasquez got motherfucking major hands and he's well respected in the game. But at the same time, any man can get broken down in there. I remember someone was like, oh, Kane will whip everyone's ass on the yard. From the fade, from the one-on-one, probably. He probably got that, right? But, man, I don't give a fuck what type of gangster you are, how hard you are. And I want you to look in the mirror, you motherfuckers that think you're untouchable. Because I don't, right? Nobody gets a pass on that yard. You fuck up, man, you're going to have shooters shooting at you, hitters hitting at you, right? It's just what it is. And I don't care what type of hands in jiu-jitsu you are, black belt you are. You can't stop 3 Southsiders with knives. And Sur gang, you could tell by the writing on that wall. You know, I've seen it many a times. I've seen the biggest tree get crumbled, right? I've seen monsters in their waters, right? It just is what it is. And luckily, Kane Velasquez was sent to a place that he could program, a programming facility. And it makes you wonder and think, man, CDC, with as much hate as they get, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm one of the biggest advocates for saying, hey, what the fuck are you guys doing? Because I know they're as crooked as they come. You know what I'm saying? They're as crooked as my spine. But one thing I could tell you for sure is some of these programs, man, look like they actually are helping some of these guys. Because if you look at the pictures of Kane Velasquez released, right? Every time at that car show, they're always doing some type of function or activity there, that playing sports. Not only is Kane the one smiling, but everyone else around him are, right? And then you got the guys who are miserable on the 4 yards and the 180s that are doing hard time, stabbing each other 100 times in the eyes and all this crazy shit that are just fucking miserable, bro. And the only thing they have to grasp onto is to talk shit about the guys that are programming. And is it fucking just talking shit? No, I don't want to hate and people to misconstrue it like I'm saying they're miserable. But look, in life, man, you deserve what you get, right? And if you put yourself in that position, you can't hate on the next man or be mad that they're programming doing their thing and say, oh, they're a piece of shit because they're over there. Them motherfuckers look mighty happy to me, right? Misery loves company. So best believe anyone, man, who is never getting out, man, who is on a 4-yard or a 180 yard, who is kind of miserable right now, man, his whole thing is to get you right where he's at. That's just the facts. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. February, Kane Velasquez gets his date, and he's coming home. Let's go. Maybe he can run something back and get that championship again. I would love to see Kane Velasquez versus the dude with the poked out eye. What's his name? None of us know anymore. His eye got poked out. We forgot his name. Bang, bang. This video is sponsored by Vario Liquors in Turlock, California. The award-winning Vario Liquors. If you're in the area, tell Lali I said what's up. Bang, bang.